Hotep and greetings. You are about to experience another UNIAACLRC 2020 event honoring our African women in alignment with PanAfRakan
Hotep
Women's
and
Day. Greetings. You are about to experience another UNIAACLRC 2020 event honoring our African women. And with that, we have our opening from our respective parent body officers. Let's move forward.
Yes, greetings, everybody. And as the first Assistant President General of the UNIAACL RC 2020 and the acting president of the Harambe Division 369, I'm going to do the formal opening and ritual, starting with the preamble. The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is a social-friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society, and is founded by persons desiring to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the African Negro peoples of the world. And the members pledge themselves to do all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all women and mankind, believing always in the sisterhood and brotherhood of man and woman, and the motherhood and fatherhood of God. The motto of the organization, government, is one God, one aim, one destiny. Therefore, let justice be done to all women and mankind, realizing that if the strong oppress the weak, confusion and discontent will ever mark the path of woman and man. But with love, faith, and charity towards all, the wren of peace and plenty will be hurled into the world, and the generations of women and men shall be called blessed. One God, one aim, one destiny, one Africa. Princes shall come out of Kemet. Ethiopia shall soon stretch forth her hands unto God. Except the Lord builds the house, their labor is but lost that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. Not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts, God of the right, our battles fight. Be with us as of yore, break down the barriers of might. We reverently implore. Stand with us in our struggles for the triumph of the right, and spread confusion ever o'er the advocates of might. And let them know that righteousness is mightier than sin, that might is only selfishness and ought not win. Endow us, Lord, with faith and grace and courage to endure the wrongs we suffer here apace, and bless us evermore. I close with the pledge to the flag. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa, to the liberation of her scattered Black children. I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism and promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people, in order that cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail until all Black people are free and united through one God, for one aim, for one destiny. So I yield now for libation. This is a very important event, and we know that our ancestors are very much alive. So without any further ado, we're going to have libations done by my good sister, Mama Tendai.
In the spirit of our ancestors, we continue this ritual as they have taught us to do. That ritual is extremely important to us because it brings together community, which is Ubuntu, which is humanness. It brings us together as one, as we celebrate the rituals that they have taught us to do. So libation is one of those that is non-denominational, but what it does is allow us to be able to call upon the spiritual energies of the universe to continue to assist us in this endeavor of the one God, one aim, and one destiny. And so as I begin to pour, I pay homage to the spirits of the earth and spirits of the heavens, to the spirits of the north, the south, the east, and the west, as I uplift our people and begin process of calling upon our ancestors. I call upon Almighty God, Olodumare, Mother, Father, God, creator of all existence and giver of life, thanking this energy for life, for another day of life, for the miracle of salvation, for life everlasting, and for a world without end. I call upon the spiritual energies that hold the universe together, not only in concept, but in essence and in being, which in the Yoruba faith we refer to as the Orisha. So I call upon each one, asking them to be calm and to be cool. So I call upon Orisha, and I call upon our ancestors as we name them, and I ask each one of you to join me in calling upon our African ancestors as we are their ascendants. We represent them on this plane of consciousness as we, as spirit beings, have taken this flesh form to continue to do their work that they have left here for us to do. Each one of us accepting our cosmic responsibility and assignment for while we are here. And so I begin with the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Ashe.
Ashe.
Amy
Ashe.
Jacques Garvey, Ashe.
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 Please help me to call upon our
Henrietta Benton Davis, Alma Golden,
Ashe,
Yes.
Mother James,
Ashe,
Ashe.
Honorable Charles L. James.
Ashe,
Nanny Helen Burroughs,
Ashe,
John Henry Clark,
Ashe,
Harriet
Ivy
Tubman,
Wells.
Ashe,
Joseph Williams,
Ashe,
Drusilla Dungy,
Ashe,
May
Francis
Fannie Lou
Ferguson,
Hamer,
Jean
Ashe,
Yoko Rashidi,
Harold Washington.
Tony Martin,
Ashe,
Ashe,
Ashe.
Glenna and Gertrude Charlie Owen, Thomas,
Please
Queen-
call upon your personal ancestors to assist us in this program, that it is brought forth in the way that they would have us to do so.
Eileen Carr Still,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Charles
Gertrude Thomas,
Naraboto.
Susie
Ashe,
Carr,
Glenna and Charlie Owens,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Eddie Green,
Ashe.
Willie James
Liza
Thomas
Slade,
Jr. and Sr.
We call
Mary Sue Versa, Ashe,
each and every one of you, and even
Catherine Greer.
we do not remember, if you are a good character and positive energy, we call you to come and be with us and celebrate with us in this particular event. And I say, Kosi Iku, Kosi Avon, Kosi Afo, Kosi Fatifu, Kosi Adina, Kosi Egba, Kosi Ayo, Kosi Ashe, Kosi Ajogun, Kosi Wahala Hala, Rekubabala, Arikumabala. And just said, let us not see anything that is negative, whether it be ill health, lack of any sort. So allow us to be able to be positive and to be uplifted. And most importantly, for those of us who are gathered here today, let us not see death, let us not see poverty, and let us not see illness. And we say, Ashe, Ashe,
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe,
So let it be.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Sister Carla,
Oh, okay, I was waiting for the drums. I'm sorry, I apologize.
My Queen Mother Chenzara is speaking, but she's muted.
Okay.
I was saying, and now for the African drum interlude.
I thought I listened.
By our illustrious brother, none other than Baba Tyemba. Just give us one moment here in.
I got it installed on the phone, Dr. Chu.
Greetings, Hotep, everyone. I want to thank everyone for making their time, taking their time out of their day to come and honor a special woman, a special Queen Mother. Thank you all for coming, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sister Carla. We are going to just have a few remarks here. In general, let you know this is our third annual program where we honor women. This year, we decided we would honor only one because in Chicago, we're doing the 2024 annual convention. So we decided we would honor one person, and that person is Mama T. Mama T is a 369 member, and we're going to come back and do some special tributes to her later. But right now, what we're going to do is get into the African Women Lead with Dr. Shinzira Kahini, who is our second Assistant President General, and she's also the High Commissioner General of the Caribbean and Area and Central America. And she's also the president of Division 307. So without further ado, we're going right into Dr. Shinzira with African Women Lead. Thank you.
Greetings, family. Hotep. I am very honored to be able to give some reflections, some commentary in regard to African Women Lead, something that has been brought forward through a number of initiatives here within the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League, RC 2020, as well as taking place actively on the ground, literally boots on the ground, in different parts of the African globe, which is literally every part of the earth, wherever Africans are present, wherever our African sisters are in the forefront of certain efforts, and much, much more. So I first would start with just saying, Amasu and Fanter, Sa Uksu, Emetran Fanter, Aura Maketi Pahrura, and I'm saying we give thanks and praise to the one most high. We live each day daily for the one most divine, and we shall do it tomorrow, just as we do it today. And this is coming on the heels of a number of powerful efforts, you know, highlighting today's honoree, Mama T, you know, let's get it clear, Charlene Owens Todd. I want to make sure I say that properly first. You know, we say Mama T affectionately and respectfully. And it also stands firm for all of the sister queens, the sister queen mothers, the sister queen grandmothers, the sister daughters, the sisters that just know how to be royal, grassroots, revolutionary Garveyites, 365. So we're really bringing truth to power in that regard when we speak of African Women Lead, because we're speaking of it in a context. And I like to start at the very beginning. We're not speaking of a feminist Eurasian perspective of how we speak of African Women Lead. When we speak of African Women Lead, we're saying that we're leading alongside, complementary in Ma'at, with our brethren, with our brothers, with our kingmen, right? And we're doing that in a respectful form, recognizing that, yes, in terms of astronomical planetary shift, this is the time of the divine feminine. At the same time, that does not mean that it's done in solo or in isolation. So when we're speaking of African Women Lead, we're speaking of it from a very revolutionary, very reparatory, justice-driven, very reverent space of how we begin to highlight the importance of culture, healing, arts, technology, spirituality, so that we can really engage in liberty, engage in productivity, so that we have prosperity and riches. That's the other R I like, and wealth in our health and in our spirit and in the work that we're doing as we speak of revolutionary efforts. As women that are moving the vibrational shift in this 21st century, it requires a significant amount of strength, and it requires a significant amount of discipline. And at the same time, it requires a significant amount of harmony amongst each and every one of us. So when we say African women lead, we're speaking of it from that precipice, from that foundation of where sisters work together, that we cooperate with one another, that we respect and look out and protect one another. And so when you hear people speak of African women lead in the context of the UNIAACLRC 2020, it's very important that we're looking at all of the different efforts. Of course, we will speak of Amy Ashwood Garvey, Amy Jacks Garvey, Henrietta Vinton Davis, Mary McLeod Bethune Cookman, all of the Ida B. Wells, all the names we were starting to hear earlier. We're also going to be adding to that list because we're going to speak of the sistren from the, from times immemorial. We have to go back to Queen Hatshepsut, because when you are a leader, it means you have to be even more responsible for the people that you serve. When you are a leader, now in a Eurocentric context, you can lead and just break the glass ceiling and do for self and do your own personal aggrandizement engagement. But when we're speaking of African women lead in the context of an African space, an African fundamentalist space, a Garvey-focused space, a space that is bringing a harmony so that we're dealing with Ma'at as truth, justice, order, reciprocity, balance, divine righteousness, and harmony, that we're bringing that 365 days per year, and 366 when they claim they've added a day, right? It's very critical also when we speak of African women lead, we are incorporating and enveloping our girls. I want to say that one more time. When we say African women lead, we are enveloping, cultivating, nurturing, it's like our garden, with our young girls so that they have the same guidance. And even for the areas that we are not perfect because we still are navigating through our own imperfections. But how do we make sure that our girls, our young princesses, and I speak of them as princesses in the context of African royalty, I'm not talking about the Disney World context. I'm speaking totally of our vibrational shift, our engagements of how we bring truth to power on all levels, right? I think it's really important that when we talk about African women lead, and I can ask everybody in this platform, in the chat, those are inside of Zoom, those online watching us, give us names. Start giving us these names so that every time that we gather and we speak of African women lead, that we have a list. Everyone should be able to name 10. And if it's 10 of us in the rooms, do you see what's happening? We're speaking of hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, millions upon millions. So when you're seeing one or two of us gather, you are really seeing millions upon millions upon millions of ancestresses. Notice the term I use, not just ancestor. I don't change the ending. So it's an ancestress, right? It's very clear, very direct. When we speak of African women lead, you're seeing millions traversing with each and every one of us. That's the other reason that we started with libations. That's the other reason that we incorporated the drum call. That's the other reason that we were asking for everyone to be in that space so that what we're speaking of comes in my eye with Ubuntu so that we can actually see that the divinity in me respects and honors the divinity in you to the best of our ability. And that does not mean that sometimes when African women lead, we move a little differently. We see perspectives a little differently. Our strategies and tactics may not be the same. Some of us are vegan, some of us are not. That's a personal joke for family. We know what we mean by that. Right. Some of us want to do the suit and tie because of certain external personification that they need to engage in, and some don't. Some want to live hide in the bush, homegrown to the grown, and some move a little different. Some of us, most of us, are very comfortable in strategies and tactics that are tied to principles that facilitate us honoring African protocols, African procedures, African traditional institutions, African political institutions, African economic institutions, African cultural institutions to the best of our ability. So when we say African women lead, we're speaking this from a place of revolutionary action. We're speaking of this not just in word, but what are we doing every day to contribute to the upliftment of African people, which always benefits all of humanity. That's just how it's been from time immemorial. When we're doing well, when we are fed, when we are strong, when we are prosperous, when we have our ancestral intelligence, not their artificial intelligence, but our ancestral, that's the real AI. We speak of African women lead, we're speaking of holding all of that up and keeping that in a space of elevation, in a space of love, in a space of honor, in a space of truth, in a space of respect. And we do these things in a variety of spaces. So as I was introduced by the Honorable Queen Mother and our Secretary General, Mary Bota, she's one of those African women who lead. We have our Chancellor, and I can go down the list. I'm calling all of you. Right? We speak of Queen Mother Sewa.
Right.
We're speaking of another African woman that leads. When we speak of our High Council, our General Council, our Council General, right? And I always refer to her as High Council General, just out of my understanding or understanding of African traditional institutions. So she's the one that really recognizes not only jurisprudence and law, but makes sure that our government operates as such, following that platform. Queen Mother, Sister Queen Mother, Ainea. I think it's really important that we start to call on those names. When I see my sister, Carla, and she's holding it back a bit, but she be bringing like fire to the network. And I'm saying this so that we can recognize, again, those are African women that lead in their respective areas where their skills, talents, and expertise are at the heights. As we were opening, and I always refer to her first as Ia, and then I'll say Queen Mother, Tendai. Because anytime we need that ancestral reconnection and networking and the academic educational expertise par excellence, Ia will be right on point with leading that and leading it not in a form of arrogance, because that's the whole idea. Being a leader, arrogance has to go to the right, to the wayside. Personal aggrandizement must be suppressed as much as possible, because an authentic leader also knows how to follow. And an authentic leader also knows how to learn from those that they lead. And that's part of that conversation when we speak of African women lead. In my meetings with Sister Queen Mother, Mama T, our honoree for this year, from the day I met this woman, her smile became not just, and I want to make sure I use the right term. I couldn't be upset on organizational things because I'm sometimes very left brain. I like things to be, and it was just her personification of bringing joy and energy and love, no matter how many things were not as organized as we may have desired. And she still provided that foundation corner energy when we've seen her in various meetings, when we've seen and heard about the level of work that she's contributed in her community, which you'll learn more about Le Coleaton, as well as just her hospitality, her alongside her beloved daughter. Sister Queen Angela. I didn't forget you. I got you. I got my list. Because these are the women that are here. And I think it's important, in addition to us speaking of those people from the great, 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 great past, that we also recognize some of our recently ascended ancestresses, and that we also look very deeply at our contemporary, those that are right amongst us, that sometimes we may not so much overlook, but we're so busy doing the work and grinding that sometimes we overlook in some respects to really acknowledge and honor them. So I say most of this with the context that brings some other things to the forefront, because I know that sometimes when I'm reflecting on Sister Queen Teresa, right? Just remember that sometimes my language skills shift when it comes to English, so just bear with me. But again, another Sister Queen that gives within the UNIA. ACLRC 2020, and provides that grounding, provides that support, provides that engagement, right? And I know that there are many others that are within our parent body, within our respective divisions. You know, I've reached out to those sisters that some I may not know personally, but I've seen on the roster, I've seen reports of the different efforts that they've done. We've got, you know, alongside Chief Bode, his queen, Kenya, that's really holding, you know, some groundings, and Sierra Leone. Again, a lot of this work, when we speak of African women lead, is balance. So we, you know, there's things that brethren are essential with, and there's things that our sistren are essential with. And it's when we walk together and when we keep it tight and respectful and honorable and maintain loyalty, and that we keep integrity in the work that we're doing. And again, not to say that it's always in perfection. And I pause on that one because we're still growing. So even when we start to navigate and speak of how we're going to identify certain words, certain efforts, certain principles, we're always, or we should always begin to look at some of the other elements. When you hear an African woman speaking of a sister as a queen or a princess, we're speaking of it not in a feudalistic context, not in a she's better than everybody. That means she got more work to do. That means that she has more responsibility to the family and the community and the village and the nation and the government and the society and the civilization. That's what we need. So just keep that in the forefront. So before I get to my last point, I definitely would like to also highlight the importance when we speak of African women lead. Where I'm speaking from at this particular point is in one of the most recent new independent republics in the Caribbean, and that is in Barbados, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Mia Mottley. And this is their time where they're doing what's considered crop over, and they're preparing for their emancipation festivities, which really has become more like dependence, like an emancipation and independence at the same time, because they're not dwelling on the enslavement experience. They're dwelling more so on how are they moving and elevating their republic so that it is exemplary of how other African nations, communities, government, civilizations may ascend. And I'd like to highlight something that happened quite recently in their National Day of Significance, which is July 26th of every year, right? It was powerful to see that young people, not so young people, Africans of all classes, backgrounds, come together and acknowledge a National Day of Significance of their African leaders. And I want to highlight which one was featured in many respects. They tend to speak mostly of Clement Payne, although he was not from Barbados, he was originally from Trinidad, came, did a lot of revolutionary work, got deported. You know the story, sound familiar. and this is early 20th century, but it was Israel Daniel Lavelle. I'm gonna say that name one more time. Israel Daniel Lavelle. And he was the first UNIA president for the first and second divisions that was started here in Barbados. And it was powerful to hear of the women, men as well, but the women from various walks of life that supported Israel Daniel Lavelle in this powerful space then under British colonization of Barbados. And I think it just takes a moment because I saw what the women that celebrated him and his grandchildren and his relatives that came to that gravesite and showed honor and respect to a Garveyite and how important Garveyism was to them in 2024. And I want to highlight and give special thanks to Sister Queen Princess Lavelle, a powerful relative and ascendant of Israel Daniel Lavelle, and her wish to see more connectivity with the UNIA, period. And she said it just so. And I just needed to make sure that when we speak of African Women Lead, that we recognize some of these persons that we may never think are connected to the movement, connected to the government, connected to revolutionary action and activism, but they're coming from a legacy that supported Garvey and Garvey's living state. They supported Garvey and Garveyism when it was really ripe in the world community. And we're looking forward to being able to elevate that as we move forward and beyond 2024. So my final point is just that I'm really hoping that in the chat, I start seeing names on the YouTube page. We start seeing names of these women that you know have been centripetal to African Women Lead. And what does that look like? And how do we present this in a way so that our young princesses, our young women will take this, how they say, take the bull by the horn and authentically make it their own.
Right.
Because we're passing the torch. The baton is cute, but the torch has fire. And we need to pass the torch.
Right.
Right? We're not going to wait for a sports event. We're doing it now in the living presence, right? To do it as much as possible. So through education, through edification, through our various economic development ideas, making sure that we're looking at environmental affairs that are impacting each and every one of us. African Women Lead also in the context of recent disaster relief efforts that are happening around the globe. There's been a major call regarding criminality and gang violence and things of that nature and our security. And we can sit here and speak about all of these philosophical things as much as we'd like, but if we are not helping to have our women and girls protected by men that respect and protect our women and girls, all of this conversation will be just that, words. And we'll be having the same discussion every decade. So I'm encouraging that from this point forward, especially if you're not in an organization, I think I'm going to start sounding like the Kwame Ture moment. But if you're not in an organization, please locate one that aligns with what you can contribute and do on a daily basis. And if you haven't found that, then start one with people that are going to do this work, because this is about work. This is about discipline. And this is about prosperity for generation upon generation upon generation. I think I've covered African Women Lead. I'm sure there's a lot more that I can speak to. I did not desire to make this an academic exercise. Persons that would like to hear that version are welcome to continue to look at some of the broadcasts that are coming from the UNIAACLRC 2020. And with that, I return this wonderful virtual lectern to our Madame Mistress of Ceremonies, the Honorable Secretary General of the UNIAACLRC 2020, Queen Mother Mary Bota, one God, one aim, one destiny, one Africa.
One Africa.
One
Thank-
Africa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shenzara. I appreciate you. Always, always delivers, no matter under what circumstances, wherever you are in the world, we can always call on you. And I always appreciate your energy and your love and your respect for UNIA and ACL and Garveyism all over the world. Thank you again. We're going to go on with the program. We have a special tribute from daughter, Sister Angela Randall. Sister Randall, Angela. Are you on mute, Sister Angela? All right. Could you unmute her?
Yeah, we're trying to get her to unmute. And while we're waiting for her, we're going to put up the slides that will accompany part of her presentation to keep things
All
in
right.
motion. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Can you hear me now? See, I knew that was.
You may have to turn off one of your devices because it sounds like we're hearing more than one of you. So if we were hearing you for a moment and then it seemed like you went to a different device. I don't know, may have to put on some music. I guess.
I see the slides. Beautiful.
No, I think she needs to turn off her pad. She was on her phone.
Okay, true. I'll just tell her to unmute. If Sister
Can
Angela,
you hear me now?
yes, we hear you quite well. Beautiful.
Okay. Okay. Before I start my tribute to my mom, because as women with like minds, I feel that we all reflect each other. I want to honor the women of 369. My mother just went through the battle of her life, and had it not been for the sisterhood of 369, we could not have gotten through this. So I want to give thanks to you ladies and honor you all as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
My mother is my rock, my foundation. She's my balance. She's my best friend. She's everything to me. She's always been one of my greatest cheerleader, with support and trust in the things that I can do. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at the end of last year, and I thought that I had lost her because she came home on hospice, and I was really afraid at the time, but because I've never seen her that vulnerable before. But we pulled through it with the help of Sangor. I have to thank you also for bringing to the UNIA the olive leaf.
Yes.
I don't think we really heard you in California when you introduced it, but everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that. And when we had the lecture with Brother Haru about the olive leaf, right after that is when my mom got the diagnosis, and we wanted the olive leaf. And me trying to keep all the pressure off of her, couldn't afford to order the case. And that's where the sisters came in and they ordered it and sent it to us. And we started that regimen. And my mother went from not being able to walk, barely talking above a whisper, to now she's back to basically to her old self. She's driving again and she's doing the things that she used to do. And I'm really thankful and grateful for that, because she has stood by me in a lot of troubled times and saved my life and brought me into African consciousness, and which when we were younger, when we thought she had, my brothers and I used to tease her and say that she was getting radical in her old age, and she was only 40 something. But because she was bringing home books about African stuff, and prior to that, we have been raised Catholic and had no clue about any of the things that she was introducing us to. But I'm so thankful that she found her way, because her and finding her way allowed us to find our way. And the greatest gift from her finding her way is me finding my purpose and what I was supposed to be doing in the African community, and doing things that I never thought that I would be able to do. So I love her. That's goes beyond saying that I love her, and I don't know what I would have done without her over the years, and I wasn't ready to find out at that time. I know we all have to pass that way, but I wasn't ready for that to happen. So I was there doing everything that I could to help her be able to continue her work as well. Thanks.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Sister Angela. It's nothing like a daughter making a tribute to her own mother. Mother is irreplaceable, and we all have mothers, and this is how we got into the world. And as you said, when they find their way, we find our way, because mothers do anything for their children. And we don't have Brother Rodney to do his tribute here. He had to work, and he's a nephew, so that is his auntie. So I'm going to now read a tribute on behalf of 369 that I wrote. On behalf of Division 369, we would like to make this special tribute to Sister Charlene Tollett, affectionately known as Mama T, as our African Woman of the Year of our 3rd annual African Centennial Women's Program. She is kind, she is timely, and as an elder, she encourages and counsels anyone who will listen. She doesn't waste words. She speaks truth to power. She's disciplined. She eats clean. She walks several miles a day. Indeed, she takes care of herself. She also takes care of her family, her entire family. She is truly the matriarch of her family. But that's not all. She's an entrepreneur. She owns a colored store and a black bookstore that has African clothes in it. It's an African boutique filled with African women's attire. Most of all, she's a Garbier, a Pan-Africanist. True. She's not fooled by Uruga. She's clear. She works hard. but she also plays hard. She sets an example for the youth. With her partner of 45 years, she can hold her own on the dance floor. We are all so proud to count her as a member of Division 369, but also as an elder, a sister, a friend, and most of all, as a fellow Garveyite, a Pan-Africanist who is helping us to exonerate Garvey and achieve African redemption. One God, one aim, one destiny, one Africa. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, we're going to go into, let's see. Let me see, where am I next on this program?
Would you like me to put up the slideshow yet?
Yes, you could do that.
Okay, while you're gathering your thoughts.
Yes.
Mama T, we see your face.
Okay,
It's good to see you.
it's so good to be seen.
Yes, sister.
We're going to have a response from Mama T after the screen hearing. That's a beautiful picture.
That is a beautiful picture.
Mhm.
All right, is this to be read now or is this to be read later?
Her bio,
Yes.
you gonna read it?
I'm asking, fine. I hope I remember how to pronounce some of these terms. Great.
Yes, you can read it. Thank you so much.
Darlene Owens Tollett, affectionately known as Mama T, was born October 21st, 1941 in Muskogee, Oklahoma. She married her high school sweetheart, Franklin Randall, and their first two children were born soon after they moved to Dallas, Texas, where her husband's parents resided, and their third child was born. Being a young, inexperienced couple, that union was short-lived and ended in separation and eventually divorce. Finding herself a single mother of 3 small children in a big city where she knew no one but her husband's family. She took menial jobs to support her family. Soon after her children entered school, she landed a job in a men's clothing store. Mama T's natural love of people contributed to her quickly moving into a management position. She worked in that position for over 20 years until National Shirt Shop went out of business. In 1976, she met the love of her life, Winston Tollett, and they were married in 1978. At this time, she was area vice president for Ace Cash Express, where she had a life-changing accident on her way to one of her stores. While at Ace, one of her customers introduced her to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. She read Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad, Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and Stolen Legacy by George M. James. She also reflected on her childhood and remembered she had an uncle who was a member of the UNIA. Her eyes were now open to some new realities and possibilities. After the accident, more reflections, and now having financial support from her husband to keep the home front stable, she decided to take her settlement from the accident and start her own mobile clothing store enterprise. After some advice from her best childhood friend, she started to add books to her inventory a few years later to help open the minds of our people. After years of traveling to Army and Air Force bases with her husband and having grown children working alongside her, her husband was transferred to Shreveport, Louisiana. After setting up at a Kwanzaa celebration in Shreveport, she was encouraged to open a bookstore in the area. In 2000, Nubian Express bookstore was born. It was a long and sometimes difficult endeavor. to get people interested in learning about themselves and the glorious accomplishments of our African ancestors. But her beautiful smile, caring, calm demeanor, and genuine love for her people won them over. As a result, it is one of the few brick and mortar bookstores still standing. And with that, we give honor and praise to our honoree for 2024, Sister Queen Mother Charlene Owens Tollett.
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Dr. Shen, for reading that beautiful bio. Now we're going to give Sister Mama T a chance to respond. She might want to just say how she feels about this. We tried to keep it a surprise. We hope it was. But you are truly loved by 369 members, and I was gathered to say all UNIA members and anyone who knows you.
Everybody.
Everybody, that's right. So at this time, you can respond in any way you would like to, Mama T.
I was surprised a little bit, but knowing my daughter, she gave it away. I kept wondering, who is this person they're going to honor? And Angela kept saying, Mom, it's a Zoom meeting, and she always have to remind her. And for her to be reminded me got me a little suspicious. But it was truly a surprise, and I am so honored and appreciative of 369 and all the UNIA members for celebrating me today. This is truly an honor.
Thank you so very much. The awarding of your certificate will be ready at convention. We thought we were going to try to have it ready for today, but Brother Zion says he will make certain that it'll be absolutely ready for convention. So I'm going to move on to introduce our keynote speaker, Brother Senghor Bae. As you all know, he's an acting president of Division 369. He's our first assistant president general. He does so many things, but I always have to remember what our former second assistant secretary general used to say. Now, remember, Mary, you can't keep up with Brother Senghor. Everybody else in the world has 24 hours in a day, but Brother Senghor has 48 hours in a day. That's how much work he does, and he is still doing that kind of work today. So without further ado, I'm going to be introducing our keynote speaker for this evening's event, our third annual Women's Day program, Brother Senghor Jawari Bae. Thank you, Brother Senghor.
Greetings, everybody. And there's no way that I could be a keynote speaker after what I've heard, especially from my Dr. Chin, the libation. But Mama T, I just want to be straightforward. Not only do you remind me of my mama, not only do you remind me of my grandmama, not only do you remind me of my great-grandmama, you remind me of all the queen mothers and the mamas that I've come to know throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that has been said about you, I just want to double down. It's very, very important for us to recognize what Dr. Chen was saying, because we have queen mothers like Mama T.
Right.
They represent the collectivity of the motherhood that we have gotten away from. And as Marcus Garvey said, the world is upside down. And for the world to be right side up, that means we have to respect the Black woman, the African woman. And when we have people like Mama T, who has helped not only 369, but helped the government keep focused on how to be respectful, how to communicate. I ain't never seen her angry. And I know she gets angry, but I ain't never seen her angry.
Never.
Every time I see her, it's always a pleasant vibe, a pleasant communication. And when she says something to you in relationship to what you may have said, it gives you the kind of reassurance that you really kind of moving in the right way. Mama T has not actually had the opportunity to step to me to correct me like my mama used to do, my grandmama and all like that. But I'm certain if she ever has to, she will.
Oh, yes.
What Mama T has brought to Shreveport is the cultural legacy where African people in a community that's over 60% African didn't have the kind of cultural, not just bookstore, but cultural community and place where people could go to get products, health products, they could get information, they could get cultural attire, and most of all, they can get schools. When we were there, I felt like I was home away from home because not only did she and Angela host us and the division members of 369 that were there, made us feel like home. I had never been to Shreveport in my life, but I will never forget Shreveport now, thanks to Mama T, Angela, and the team that they had to put us to host us and put things together. So, Mama T, I just want you to be very clear. Not only do we love you, we appreciate you, we honor you, we respect you, and we following you because you are our Queen Mother.
Oh,
As
yes.
Mary Bolter, as
Yes.
Dr. Chen has said, and even Dr. In the libation, African women rule. And I could not be a keynote speaker in an event like this when we have so many beautiful Black women that are very, very focused. I'm going to leave that to the President General. But I will say, as the president of 369, we are so happy to have you active with us. We are elated by your family, by the camaraderie, the energy that you bring to government. I don't know how much you've influenced those who you came across before us, but I'm certain if it's anything like you've influenced us, they've been blessed.
Yes.
And you have such a touch. You don't even have to open your mouth.
Right.
When you step in the room, it's obvious.
Feel the spirit.
When you sit at our table, when you sit at our work table, it's
Right.
obvious.
Right.
And when you do speak, we hear you loud and clear. We're very, very clear. And in regards to what Sister Angela said, you know, Mama T, I told Angela, anytime you need to speak directly to Brother Haruf or Rayata, feel free to do that because he's aware of you, knows what's going on. And if you haven't spoken to him directly, you have the opportunity to. So let me know. That's very important because I understand what has been going on. I also understand that Heru is like myself. And it ain't about me, he or she. It's about we collectivity. But everything that we put our hands on that are gold needs to be shared with our African. So I'm just so elated that you have moved into recovery and are able to be with us at convention. I look forward to getting a big Blacktricity hug from you. I look forward to giving you a big Blacktricity hug. I look forward to many more years of mother wit, queendom energy coming from you. And like I said, I could say a lot more, but I'm gonna keep it short. Most people know I'm long-winded, but what Dr. Chen laid out there was clear. All African women must rise. And if you don't understand what's going on with the energy of women right now on the planet, you need to understand Mother Earth is pregnant for the 4th time. And this pregnancy is going to flip the script and your root is going to be done. I pray that we get to see it physically, but I know we're going to see it. I pray we get to see it while we're on this side because I know it's coming. And I ain't just talking about the vice president running for president in this country. I think that's a part of it, but I think our ancestors are working their mojo.
Yes.
I think so, sick and tired of the foolishness that's been going on, not only with the politics in America, but all over the world. And I sent a message out to y'all. I mean, it's women rising everywhere on this planet. And I don't think that that's an accident. I think that that's very important because us brothers who recognize the importance of the womb to the tomb, we recognize the importance of leadership with African women. When we say African women lead, we ain't going nowhere. It's just going to boost our Blacktricity. So as fast as y'all can run, I'm going to be right there with you.
All right, all right, all
I'm,
right.
I'm going to put a cap in it right here. Mama T, I look forward to seeing you in Chi-Town. Angela, thank you so much for blessing your mother. And Mama T, thank you so much for blessing your daughter and your family and the community of Shreveport and Division 369, the Pulling Together Harambe Division, which is the host of this event. And I want to just stop on that point. And I think it's my job. I don't know whether I'm supposed to turn it back over to Mary or whether or not I want to bring on my brother. So Mary, let me know whether you're going to bring him on or you want me to bring him on. But I would just say,
I want you to bring him on.
okay, Mama T, we love you.
Okay.
We love you and are looking forward to seeing you in Chi-Town. And Mary has given me the opportunity of bringing on my brother from another mother. And if y'all don't know, you got to be very careful if you bring any energy our way that ain't conducive to what we about. Because I'm one of the first person to hit you over the head with the Blacktricity stick.
All right.
Even though I serve as first assistant, I want y'all to be very clear. I'm the Blacktricity warrior. Without any further ado, I bring on to the President General, Baba Akili, Malik, and Nkrumah.
President.
I heard you, Mary. You were about to say something?
I just said President General, Honorable President General.
Well, Asante Sana, Hotep family.
Okay, Hotep.
Mama T, since this is truly directed at honoring you, allow me first to give that some clarity from my seat. You are not just an inspiration, and you have been given a bunch of accolades. But I think the accolade that suits you best is Queen Mother. And the reason I think it fits you best is because throughout your life, as things have been said today, you have marshaled and stewarded forward many lives. Kind of what a Queen Mother does. You never looked for or worked for accolades. Reminds me much of my own biological mother. But your presence has always been one that had to be recognized, respected, and revered. Again, as my own mother. I think for a lot of us, motherhood has become important because we became conscious. The reality is motherhood was important regardless. You are an example of what that means across the board. First and foremost, I look forward to seeing you in Chi-Town as the first assistant president general. And my brother said, and I'm sure Mary and them have said, we look forward to that opportunity to give you the biggest hug ever. And I promise not to hug you too hard, but I do promise to hug you. I want to take an opportunity to salute your daughter, who is truly a representative of what you mean to us, and therefore what you mean to her. Truly, that synergy has transcended generations. Early on in listening to Dr. Tanzira, Second Assistant President General, and we got a whole bunch of titles that goes with her name. And for one, at this point, the title that matters most is she's a mother. She's a guiding force. Yeah, Mama Tindai, she's a mother. Mary Bolter, she's a mother. Teresa Thornton's on, she's a mother. So we're honoring motherhood through you. Through you, we're honoring all of them. And the lecture of African Women Lead, don't get it twisted. If we don't recognize your role, we in the dark. And since the RC 2020 has brought to light that meant the mothers of RC 2020 has brought to light. It is truly incumbent upon us to recognize that glory and that greatness. Dr. Tanzira mentioned Sister Sewa. She mentioned Sister Ania. Let's mention Sister Brenda Dunn Clayton, who's no longer with us. Sister Margot Thomas. You see, there are African women that continue. She mentioned Mary Bolton, so I didn't have to really mention, but I'm going to throw Mary Bolton, and then she mentioned Carla. But you got to also mention Nanny Helen Barrows. That's Senghor Queen. Sister Kathy Hope. Got to mention her. And then there's women behind that. But today, in recognizing one queen, we truly are trying to recognize as many as possible. And not just today, but throughout every day, we need to take a moment and recognize the glory of an African woman. We face a trying time, and maybe this is a challenge for us. It's a trying time. But with sisters like you, giving us the inspiration to move forward, it's a revolutionary time. It's trying, but it's revolutionary. Because they can speak truth to power and have no fear. Because if I got to come to Shreveport to get your back, I'm coming to Shreveport to get your back. Understand that. If I got to go to Barbados or St. Croix to get Dr. Tanzira's back, I'm going there to get that back. I'm going to go wherever you need me. And that's because I want to be not just a president general, but a good brother and an honorable son. Because that's what I was to my own mother. And although you are all my sisters, you are also mothers. And motherhood can never, ever be disrespected or given any less of respect. Because without all of you, as my brother likes to say, none of us got here without a sister. He used to say, without a woman, none of us got here. We couldn't have come through the channels of life without you. And we will ensure that you will not go through the channel of life without us doing everything possible to protect you. I honor you today. But I honor all of the sisters on this call. I honor all of the sisters that we named. Dr. Tanzira asked us to put names in the chat, and I put some of my personal family names in the chat. But I want to mention my aunt. My aunt is Dr. Jeanette Taylor. I mentioned her for a reason. Because at 3 years old, she taught me a very valuable lesson. We walked down the street in Philadelphia, and I was walking on the inside near the buildings. That's where she was holding my hand. I was 3. I don't know exactly how old she was, but she wasn't that much older than me. And she said, wait a minute, get on the other side. I said, get on the other side. I said, why? She said, because that's where a man is supposed to walk to provide protection. I'm 3 years old. I said, but I'm not a man. When she slapped me side the head, I recognized that was the right place to be. I was a man in training, and I learned my lesson. I will always walk to protect my sisters. I will always do, as President General, as Baba Akili, always do what's best to protect my sisters first, my children second, my brothers third, because they gonna be on my back. So sisters, I want to salute you today. I want to thank you, not just for the time we spent in Shreveport. I want to thank you for the ancestors telling you, you ain't going nowhere yet. You ain't going nowhere yet, which means there's work to be done. I say, my sister queen, I say.
Thank you so much, President General, for those beautiful remarks. As I say, we're all honoring Mama T today. And I read, I'm sure you heard it when you came. We had a special tribute that was read on behalf of 369 members. And Brother Rodney will get a chance to bring his at Convention 2024. So at this time, we're going to have some announcements, but I'm going to make a brief announcement about the first day of convention in 2024. 369 will have a welcoming reception and a mass meeting on the very first day of convention, which is August 14th, and that'll be from 4 to 7 p.m. So I hope that everybody will be there. 369 members will in Chicago. We will all be there. But hopefully, Mama T, I know that you and Sister Angela will be coming in that morning. And I believe you're coming in at O'Hare, and Sister Margot will be picking you up. And now, are there any more special announcements that Brother Senghor might have?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Mary. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Mama T. I'm calling, and thank you, Teresa. And no offense to all the other sisters, but I'm kind of focused on the 369 sisters because we took on a big task of hosting the convention in Chicago this year. And I know that you all have been really working very, very hard. And I missed anything, Mary, please, make sure that, you stress that. But y'all 369 members are beautiful. I also want to recognize the 369 brothers, my brother Julius that's on right now.
Right.
And, I had the pleasure of serving as acting president of 369 because my good brother Delani Amon, who is in the ancestral realm, would not have it any other way. But I'm still an active member of Division 330. So, because Baba Mosi wouldn't have it any other way. So, PG, I don't know whether that's ever been done like that, but that's what we called to do. But
No, it hasn't. But this the world keep changing because it keep moving. It's all good. It's all good.
The Mary, though, has not only served as the vice president, she's took on all the roles that I have not been able to do as president. And so I want to thank her for that in terms of, all of her work. Sister Margot, who's a little under the weather and not with us, we want to hold her in the light.
Yes.
With Secretary 369.
Right.
And all of our 369 members. And especially Carla, I love the PG. PG, you was right on point with your remarks about mother. And I want to thank Carla for taking care of Mama Mary.
Yes, yes.
And that's, to me, is so important because, as you said, President General, when daughters take care of their mamas, it's like a big blessing because who takes care of you when you come out the womb? Who changes your diaper?
Right.
So brothers,
let me, can I just interjection just for a moment, because you said something interesting. Not only who changes your diaper. My younger sister is, of course, very much so grown, and I can live to telling her I'm the last man ever to have changed her diaper. So understand. See, it is important to recognize that. And when my mother was transitioning, the challenge in her life was having me take care of her. I know, I'm telling you all, and I've never shared this before, that my mother decided to go home because she did not want me to change her diaper.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. You said that because, I have some couple stories too in that regard because, thanks to my mother, I learned how to take care of elders. My mother was the matriarch of my family on all sides, and she taught me how to take care of elders. There was an elder sister who lived across the street from us, and her family did not really support her. Mrs. Swain. And when she started getting to a point where she could no longer, I used to go to the store for, even when she could move around. But when she could no longer move around, my mother took her in to live with us across the street and cared for her.
Mhm.
So I learned that.
Mhm.
So not only am I an advocate for children, I'm an advocate for elders.
Yeah.
And thanks to, Mama Kathy, who
Learn the value of the womb.
brought home her aunt who was being abused and mistreated by this guy in Ohio, brought her home and we took care of her and she continued to live on. I was able to provide for her. So I understand exactly what you're saying, Baba.
Yeah.
And it is important because I had to learn to change diapers for adults, for men.
Yeah. Men is easy.
So easier.
Yeah. 'Cause we know what that look like.
I don't want to do it easier, PG, because it can get kind of rough for elder men too. But anyway, I just want to say that it's important for us to continue to spread the love with each other. And Dr. Chenzara, thank you so much for blessing 369 for putting together this. Not just the technical aspect, but the spiritual part of it.
Yes.
As you put love into what you do. Mama Tendai, thank you for stepping in as always.
Yes.
And doing libation. So I don't want 369 people to think that I don't love 330 and 3 as just as much. But this is a 369 event. So I want to say that Brother Julius and all the 369 members that want to share something are welcome to. I know Julius may not have met Mama T physically as of yet, but I just wanted to say, Mary, if there's any other 369 people, Teresa, that want to say something. In addition, I know she's also put something in the chat that they should have an opportunity of doing that. And I want to thank you, Mama Mary, for having a vision to keeping this legacy going of tribute to African women.
Yes. Does anyone have anything that they want to add? You may do so at this time.
Angela.
Okay, Angela, Sister Angela.
Yeah, I wanted to echo what Senghor was saying, because my mother taught me how to take care of her, watching her throughout our family, because we don't believe in the nursing home. She has taken care of so many of our family members that I was just doing what I had seen her do in the past for her. Yeah, she set the example for me.
Right, right. And that's what mothers are supposed to do, is set the example. So the children will have that. And that's so important. And I just want to thank everybody.
Mama Mary, your daughter has her hand up.
Yes, it's Carla.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Carla.
Okay, so I just wanted to add, Mom, mute your phone, please.
Okay, wait, Carla. Oh, the whole thing went out.
No, you're still with us, Mary. You're still with us.
But I couldn't mute it because I don't know what happened.
Mommy, touch your screen so you can now touch your screen again.
I did. Carla.
Okay, hold on 1 minute.
You're gonna have to fix it.
Carla, you're coming through okay. It may not be a problem.
So you go ahead, Carla, and speak.
You're on mute now, Carla. Carla, there you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just wanted to thank God for Mama T. Ever since I met her, there has been one positive experience after another. It's just like Baba Senghor said, I've never seen her mad, ever. She always has something positive to say, something positive to add, something to bring to us in a nurturing way. I've seen her take notice of things that might need some tweaking and say, I need to talk to that person. And I don't see her talk to that person, but I know in my heart of hearts, she went and spoke to that person. to address whatever needed to be addressed for the good of the person as well as the good of the race. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being so loving, so nurturing, so giving, and a great inspiration because you hear so much about and see so much where you're like, who raised these people that are mothers today? And you are a prime example of how we're supposed to act as matriarchs. So I will aspire to be like you, aspire to be like my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, and all of my aunts, because they've always been nurtured. So I've always considered myself very blessed with who I got to be related to blood-wise. But I also feel very blessed to have you in my life and our lives in the UNIA.
Thank you, Carla.
Yeah, Mama Mary, Mama Tendai has her hand up too.
Okay. Mama Tendaya.
Mama T, I just met you last year in Shreveport. And I just wanted to let you know the effect that you had on me when you came to the airport with Brother David to pick me up. Your sweet, gentle spirit was very obvious, and I needed that, having just getting off the plane and gone through some ordeals. So just the energy that is around you is uplifting and positive. And I'm grateful to the ancestors that I didn't know about your illness. I'm saying I pray for the sisters, all the sisters every day. I'm grateful that the ancestors have seen that you still have work to do and that you are here, and grateful that the ancestors have allowed me the opportunity of being able to meet you and to spend a little bit of time with you, but to be in the environment that you create just by being you. So I thank you, Mama, for all of the energy that you give and the love that you give. I receive it and I return it to you 1,000,000 times over. Ashe.
Ashe, thank you.
And she doesn't get angry. I get angry for both of us. She's the wind that puts the fire out.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes you need the fire, so it's all good.
Sometimes you need it,
Exactly.
right.
That's why we're a good balance.
That's beautiful. All right, at this time, if there's no one else that has anything to say,
Brother Mink has his hand up.
Who does?
Julius, brother.
Okay, Brother Julius, go ahead.
Now, I left Chicago a long time ago, and I never met Mama T. And listening to the biography and listening to the story, we gotta define family. And the family is based on motherhood, because that's how we all got here.
That's right.
The UNIAACL 2020 has to define family, and motherhood has to be the base to that. So I'm reminded when I listen to the biography and listening to members of, well, I'm a refugee. I don't really have a family that I know that came before me, except the families that I've been around. And I know that Mama T was a child of Africans that were here before slavery. And we can't forget what they went through trying to live in amicable relationship and harmony in Mayat with the red man.
Right.
And we can't forget that breeding and struggle that they went through trying to bring peace to a people that came from another land to occupy and live with them. That's the whole history of the Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana history of the Americas. That without that motherhood that was there, that allowed us to continue and be a people that gives that spirit to the land that Mama T is reflecting, that you all are telling me about and I'm learning about. And I'm hearing, I'm feeling. It can bring tears to my eyes. You know, we've got people, good people. We got good people, and we have to build family. We have to build motherhood. It has to be understood what it means to have family. And we only have 2 genders. We don't have 6.
Right. Right.
We have to take a position on that.
Right.
That's
I'll
true.
leave it there.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mama T. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank you, Brother Julius. I certainly appreciate those wonderful remarks. You're always on point, and I'm so glad that you are here as a part of 369, representing the males in in 369. We don't have a lot of men, but the ones we have are powerful. So thank you so very much. At this time, we're going to call on our President General to give us our closing remarks and to give us the benediction. Thank you.
Sanjay Sana again. I don't know that you close an event like this. I know that it ends. I want us to recognize that the continuation of this will be at convention in August. And that's because we have to honor women of African descent on a national stage. And in order to do that, we have to do it at our convention. We have to also recognize that the UNIAACLRC 2020 has its roots connected to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey Code, because many of us were students of those who were taught by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. And because of that, it gives us not only strength of history and legacy, it gives us commitment and dedication to moving the agenda forward. We truly understand the challenges that we face in the world today. Be not afraid and make no mistake. The program 2025, Project 2025, is intended to put us back in slavery. We fight colonizations on continent of Africa and neocolonialism as it has evolved in Africa. Prepare for it to be on the shores of the US of A. And let's get ready. You see, we get ready through honoring our sister, but also we get ready in preparing our African women and our African men to go forth and be fruitful and conduct and construct and build, so that we are prepared to address the challenge that we face. We cannot play this simply, easily. We cannot. And Mary Bo, you said, give the benediction. And that took me back to church when you said that. God of the right, our battles fight. Y'all can join with me. Be with us as of yore.
Break down
to break down the barriers of might. We reverently implore. Stand with us in our struggles for the triumph of the right, and spread confusion ever o'er the advocates of might. And let them know that righteousness is mightier than sin, that might is only selfishness and ought not win. Endow us, Lord, with faith and grace and courage to endure the wrongs we suffer here of pace, and bless us evermore. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and those men and women from that time frame coined that for us to understand, although you may not choose a God, to understand that the spiritual world and our ancestral spirits are those gods. And ancient Africa and the tradition of Ma'at, we recognize that there was a spirit that was before there was a body.
Right.
And when you recognize that and you recognize those platforms, and Mama Dr. Chinzira, I know you're on with me, truth, justice, reciprocity, and give me the rest.
Truth,
I know you're there.
order, reciprocity, balance, divine righteousness, and harmony.
And so with that, I will say to all of you, not only do we salute 369, but we are blessed to be a part of the UNIAACLRC 2020, because it's not rehabilitating just the UNIA, it's rehabilitating the race and putting us in a position to meet the challenges that we face, because the challenges are here and now. We are those with grandchildren and those children that do not know. We have to continue to prepare the way. African women lead.
Yes.
Understand, when we coined that phrase, we coined it for a reason, because African women lead. So says the Unc. Asante
Yes,
Sana, Sister Mary Bolton.
yes. Our motto. Okay.
One God,
God,
God.
One God.
one aim,
one aim,
One aim,
one destiny,
One
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 destiny.
destiny,
one Africa.
one
one
Africa.
Africa.
All right, race first.
Race first.
Face first.
And have a good rest of your evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming to enjoy our program. Thank you once again. Have a good rest of your evening.
God bless.
Good
Hotep.
night. Good night. Hotel.
Peace, everybody. Peace.
Peace.